It's been a couple years. This rolled into the old shop, fall of 2020. But shoot, it's a good story anyways, and with all the craziness in the world, might as well just sit down and watch a cool video of a classic car getting painted an awesome color that goes perfect with the season, if I do say so myself. This car rolled into our shop in primer. The door jambs had already been painted in a color that somewhat resembled the factory Go Mango color that the car would have come from the factory with. As you can see here, the hood is lovingly strapped to the roof with a cargo strap, tightened down to approximately 1,000 foot-pounds, which unfortunately caused a bit of a ripple effect. Luckily, we were able to straighten that out and block out the primer, but it required a fair amount of work. Why is it that the cars that show up in primer are always the dodgiest? Now, as good as a color mixologist as the last guy might have been, I didn't 100% trust that the orange color was a faithful reproduction of the original Go Mango. So with a little bit of secret sauce, a little bit of finessing of the Automagic color match tool, and a couple minutes in the mix room, I was able to whip up a color that very closely resembled what this car came into the shop with.
A little too much junk up here for my liking.
What's this? Doing.
It's the old EVAP thing you just left on there.
Do they have a neutral safety?
Yeah. But the brakes do seem good. Yeah, there's brakes.
That's good.
All right. A 4.3 V6. Further testing is probably needed. Wow, who would want to...
My dream car, sir. I've had quite enough of that.
So anticlimactic.
The first step in the masking process that I like to do on these old cars is raise them up in the air on jack stands. That way I don't miss any spots on the bottom of the car or the rocker panels where the paint needs to go. This car had a little bit of a special scenario because the bottom of it was painted gloss white, which is probably the most unforgiving color to paint the bottom side of a car. It shows everything. It's no accident though that this paint booth that I'm operating out of is about as good as it gets. See, when GFS bought Binks, they kind of quit making this design, but I really like the way it works. So the ceiling and the two walls have clean air flowing in through them, which then displaces the exhausted overspray air out the center of the bottom of the car. Super cool design, and in my opinion, doesn't really get much better than this.
We definitely go above and beyond on prep. Bottom side's already been painted white by some other guy. I'm not exactly sure who painted it. I like this here, the sound shield to hold the trunk open. I've made this so it pivots and I can shut this. What I'll do here is I'll paint everything orange, seal it, orange it, paint the back half white, and allow the overspray to go in the jams a little bit. Mask off the white where it needs to be masked off, reshoot it again orange, and then pull off the trunk lid and then reshoot the jams and get it cleaned up. From there, paint that separate, paint this separate with the back mask on the bottom side of the trunk. We're just repainting the trunk jam and the door jams because their orange paint job was horrible. So, oh, that looks like undercoating, but then you realize that all of this is just dust and dirt and stuff that's been painted into it. I mean, this is a little bit of undercoating here, but it kind of stops right here and it just turns into dust. So yeah, that's really bad. Just all this, yeah, you can see all the spots that are sanded through.
To start the paint job, the sealer goes down with my 1500 Sada B-Solve. This gun features a 1.4 fluid tip and an HVLP air cap. I got a bit lost in the moment and don't actually have any video of spraying the sealer, but here's a handy reference chart. Go Mango, which is the color we're spraying this Dodge, is kind of a cross between orange and yellow, so I'm going to use a white sealer. Don't get stuck in amateur hour and choose the wrong sealer color. If you use the wrong sealer color, you'll end up wasting a lot of paint trying to get full coverage. Here I'm applying my base coat color with my Tecna base coat gun. This gun features a 1.3 fluid tip and an HVLP air cap. It works really good at breaking apart the base coat and atomizing it perfectly for great coverage. Every classic car has a good story, and this one's no exception. This one rolled into the shop after sitting untouched for years and years in our previous customer's dad's garage. See, the dad had hired somebody decades ago to restore the car, and they had done a fairly decent job, but it was kind of a hot mess. So he found somebody to put it together, and that person brought it to us to have it repainted. Unfortunately, when the car was brought to us, somebody had strapped the hood to the roof of the car, as you saw earlier, which did a fair amount of damage to the roof skin. We ended up having to grind back a bunch of the paint and shrink the metal back as it had oil canned with the weight of the hood. After a couple weeks of sanding and blocking, we had the body straightened out just how we like it. Pro tip, don't strap the hood to the roof of a car. Once I had the white base coat sprayed out, it was time to mask off the rear bumblebee stripe. I started by laying down a reference line of 3M fine line tape. I used varying widths of tape to create the stripe effect. Once I had the tape laid out, I peeled back the middle layer to reveal the stripe that would ultimately end up on the back of the car. So here's the secret sauce on how I get all of these paint jobs to look so delicious. In my hand here, I have a softback sanding sponge. This particular one is of the 600 grit variety. The trick is to lay down a nice wet coat of base coat, wait for an hour or two for it to fully flash off, and then come back and sand the surface with 600 grit to get rid of all the little pieces of dust and sand piling, which is going to come up as a result of spraying your sealer. Especially in a dry climate like Anchorage, Alaska, dust is inevitable, but this is going to help your final finish come out that much closer to smooth as glass. For the clear coat, I'm using one of my favorites, the Iwata WS400. Now, this gun features a 1.4 fluid tip, and I'm using the fan settings with it wide open, so maximum fluid flow, maximum fan pattern at 29 psi. This gun is really perfect for the Lessenol Pro Air Slow Clear that I was spraying, which is a mid-solids clear at 2-to-1 mix ratio. My ideal booth temperature for this clear coat is 75 degrees, which is the perfect amount of cure time to make it around the body completely without any overspray issues. Absolute perfection.
What? No.
Hey, that's a lot of work, Mitch.
It's a lot of work, yeah. It should be sweet though. I like the way it sounds.
Compared to the big block stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's starting in first gear.
I think you're right. It sounds like it's in second.
That explain it? That's not plugged in.
It's in default mode.
The range selector. Oh, that'll do it right there. Easy access.
Gotta love that open floor plan.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's better.
So that's it. This is Go Mango on this 1970 Challenger. My custom rendition of the Go Mango color turned out phenomenally, and I think it couldn't have looked any better. What's the craziest color you've ever seen one of these cars painted? One thing's for sure, this is about as crazy and vibrant of a color as I could mix off the bank in the back of the shop. Here we are, came out great, and I almost escaped the booth without doing any cutting and polishing on it, but there was a couple pieces of dust where that tape overlaps onto the orange, inevitable with a job this complex. Anyways, turned out great, and the owner was super happy with the outcome. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.